गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. So we are on in Jnaneshwari. I think we are going to start verse number 3 and we saw the qualities ahimsa satyam akrodha tyaga shantirapayshunam daya bhuteshu avaloluptvam mardavam harirachapalam. Chapalam, apalam or chapalam is chapala, means fickle, the one who is not fickle, who does not give himself too many options. And too many options only appear for a person when he sits at his senses, when his seat of abode is the senses and the mind. In the mind, the desires; in the senses, you will be bombarded with seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting. These stimuli, they'll keep coming, and it eventually, a person who's sitting there, it leads such a person to he becomes a slave, in other words, of the senses and the mind. And a person who is slave of the senses and the mind eventually gets to depression. And here it is told chapalam, meaning do not become fickle minded, do not give yourself too many options, be the master of your senses and be the master of your mind. Now we come to the third verse. Third verse says Teja Kshama Dhruti Shaucham, Teja Kshama Dhruti Shaucham, Adroho Nati Manita, Adroho Nati Manita, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim, Abhijatasya Bharata, Abhijatasya Bharata. So here it says the third one, vigor, teja, brightness, vigor, inspiration, forgiveness, kshama, dhruti is fortitude, shaucham is cleanliness, adroha is absence of hatred, absence of animosity, and na atimanita, and absence of envy and pride. Bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. These, O Bharata, O Arjuna, these belong to one born to the Daivi Sampadi, divine endowment. So what are they? Let's look. Hata Ishvara Prapti Lagi Pravartatam Jnana Margi Dhimvase Yachi Angi Uni Vanohe Vokhate Marana Aise Tehi Ale Agni Praveshe Paripraneshwarodeshe Naganichi Sati तैसे आत्मनाथाचिया आधी लावुनी विषय विषाचिवाधी धावो आवडे पाणधी शून्याचिये न ठाके निषेधु आड न पडे विधीची भीड नुपजेची जीवी कोड महासिद्धीचे ऐसे ईश्वराकडे निज धावे आपसया सहज तया नाव तेज आध्यात्मिकते. So he says, when a person longs to pursue the path of knowledge for God realization, he does not feel the lack of strength. There is nothing so dreadful than immolation, but a chaste wife does not hesitate to enter the pyre of her dead husband in the same way. This is around his time that used to go on, sati practice. In the same way, a person longing to attain his Lord, the self, rejects sensuous pleasures like poison and treads the difficult path leading to the formless Brahman. In this journey, he is not obstructed by precepts or prohibitions, nor is he lured by the miraculous powers. In this way, his mind is directed of its own accord towards the Supreme Self, and this is known as spiritual vigor. See, Teja also means brightness. Vigor is one thing, brightness is another. And when a person has Tej, has this vigor, automatically anyone who comes in his presence feels inspired, feels affected in some way or the other positively. And when you are in the presence of a person who is shining bright like the sun, then you come in their presence, automatically the dross of your mind, the negative mood of your mind automatically becomes positive in their presence. This is Tej. You get affected. You get affected. Just like many times we give this example, just like when we come to the fire, in the presence of fire like today, so all the cold that we are feeling automatically goes away. Similarly, when we come in the presence of a person who is shining bright with vitality, with enthusiasm, and how is he, and inspiration, and where is he getting that? That inspiration and enthusiasm is not coming from the pursuit of the world. See? Because if you pursue the world, it will lead to greed. It will lead to maintaining your position. It will lead to you maintaining one step ahead of other competitors. But here it is not so. This person is, because of his Godward bent of his heart and mind, and his mind is naturally drawn to the divinity, to the self, to the Lord. And when we come in the presence of such a person, such a master, such a person with this type of disposition, automatically our mind goes through a positive shift. We feel that we are in presence of someone powerful. See? And the other type of Tej is, people see it is not that the skin is bright. When you do a little bit of pranayam, your skin becomes very bright. Your forehead becomes bright. Your eyes become clear. Skin starts becoming translucent. It's not bright, does not mean that every white person is a bright person. No, we are not talking about that. This is a different brightness. And this thing can also be achieved through taking a sankalpa or doing a punashcharan of a Gayatri Japa. See, and when a person is a regular chanter of Gayatri Japa, automatically the Tej starts expressing through him. Teja. So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says that a person longing to attain his Lord, the Self, rejects sensuous pleasures like poison and treads the difficult path leading to the formless Brahman. In this journey, he is not obstructed by precepts or prohibitions, nor is he lured by the miraculous powers. When if your house is on fire, you are not going to look of how you are going to be socially responsible, or I have to maintain 6 feet distance, how am I going to save my family. You are not going to follow all that. You are not going to follow your that I am a brahmachari, I am not supposed to touch anyone. No, nothing like that. Oh, what should I do? First I should go and open the door and go out and find help and then save other people. No. What will you do? If there is no one, only you are there, okay. What will you do? You will find any way, which way you can. James Bond movie. Any way, which way you can, you will find a way out. Because house is on fire. When our mind is on fire, meaning in love, with wanting to know, to merge, to surrender, to realize the self, it is on fire. Everything that comes in the periphery of the mind gets burnt away straight away. No place for it. See? This is the vigor that is required. Today is our last day. If we keep thinking that we have got tomorrow and we are going to practice tomorrow, today, oh, these are only the qualities. If this thought is going that we are only studying the qualities of the Daivi Sampatti, and how is that going to, okay, theek hai, we have done so many qualities in chapter 12 also and 13th chapter also and some other chapters. If this type of attitude is there, then that vigor, that inspiration will not be there. We have to be mad. We have to be obsessed. See, when sleep is coming, you are it's grabbing, it's behind your eyelids, it's pulling them closed. At that time, does not matter what other people are saying, what commands are being given to you, what demands are being made from you. It does not matter whether you have eaten or not. It does not matter you are in bed or not. Wherever you are, you surrender to the sleep. Mind withdraws from everything, all the distractions, exactly the same way. That is going to sleep. That is why next morning you are full of vigor and energy. That is why you are refreshed next morning. Imagine living in that refreshed disposition every moment. Every moment. That is possible only when we fall in love with the divine. And the reason we are not falling in love with the divine is because we don't have faith. That is the only reason. We don't revere that truth. We don't revere that God. We don't revere the self that we are as much as we revere the world, as much as we revere the relations, as much as we revere this body. That is the only reason. Write it down. This is the only reason why it is not happening. Find ways and reasons, means to increase your faith patiently. Shraddha Saburi. And at that time, he is not obstructed by precepts or prohibitions. Oh, I have to go, I want to realize, I must take permission from my Guru Maharaj. What will happen to my classes? What will happen to the devotees? What will happen to the ashram? What will happen to my every day I do puja in the morning and in the evening? What will happen to the lighting of the lamp? What will happen to this? What will happen to this? Such a person will never come to know the truth. Because when the fire catches from within, then everything burns away. Where does all that puja go when the sleep comes? It also burns away, goes away. Say even more so here. Or prohibitions, nor is he lured by the miraculous powers. There is no do's and don'ts for such a person. See? And that is why our culture, Bharat Desh, in that country, such sadhus are respected. They are the awliyas, they are the fakirs. They are the yogis who are unconcerned about the world, even if they are walking naked. The people respect. Why? Because he is not being and he is not aware of the world. See, when we are doing Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is being narrated by Shukdev Ji Maharaj to Parikshit, King Parikshit. And that Shukdev Ji Maharaj, for 12 years, while he was in the womb of his mother, he heard the Bhagavatam, the Chatushloki Bhagavat from his father, Maharishi Vedvyas, Bhagwan Maharishi Vedvyas. And he didn't want to come out because he was in meditation in the womb only. After 12 years, he came out. And when he came out, straight away he started walking naked. He was not attached to mother, was not attached to dad, just walked away. And the father also started, hey, Shukdev, wait, I am your father, this is your mother, blah, blah, blah. And he kept walking. And the father is running behind him. And as they were passing a pond, there were some girls taking, young maidens taking bath there in the pond. And when they saw Shukdev Ji Maharaj, Shukdev Ji kept going, and they didn't feel shy in his presence to hide themselves underwater. They did not feel shy. They did not feel ashamed in his presence. And when the father came, very quickly they hid themselves behind clothes or went under the water. And Maharishi Vedvyas Ji, he noticed that. He said, how come a young boy is going naked and you don't feel ashamed? And when me, a grown-up man who's old enough to be a father, when I come by, you are ashamed? See? Work out why. Shukdev Ji Maharaj was absolutely unconcerned about the world. And he is walking away. Maharishi Vedvyas, even though a great sage, but at that moment, he was attached to his son. He was attached to the form of his son. He wanted to caress him, take care of him, communicate with him. So what is that? Body identification was there for that moment. Otherwise, how will the love that he is my son, hey, wait, my son, my dear son, I will miss you, why are you going? Why will he say that if the identification is not there? But Shukdev Ji Maharaj completely disidentified. See? That is the type of our availability to the truth and Lord. That much we must be available. That it does not matter what is going on around in the world. Now don't start living in such a way. Oh, they said we must not be concerned about what is going on in the world, so I will not be concerned. Hey, not that way. It must happen. It must not be your decision that you are not concerned about the world. And when it happens, such a person with such stage becomes a force to reckon with. People feel at peace, at one ment. Their mind comes to peace. They feel inspired in such a person's presence, etc., etc. Ata sarva hi sahatiya garima garva na ye te chi kshama जैसे देहवाहो निरोमा वाहने नेणे आणि मातलिया इंद्रियांचे वेग का प्राचीने खवळले रोग अथवा योग वियोग प्रिया प्रियांचे यया आघवियांचाची थोरू एके वेळे आलिया पुरू तरी अगस्त्य का होऊ निधीरू उभा ठाके आकाशी धूमाची रेखा उठिली बहुवा आगळिका ते गिळीये की झुळुका वाराजेवी तैसे अधिभूताधिदैवा अध्यात्मादि उपद्रवा पातले या पांडवा गिळूनी घाली. Now the second one is forgiveness, kshama. What is kshama? Here he says, now as the body is not aware of the numerous hair on it, so one is not proud that he is the best among those blessed with patience. So the pride that I have conquered my anger, that I have conquered my tongue, that I have conquered, that nobody can disturb me from the silence, that I am a sattvic person. अपने मुंह मियाँ मिट्ठू. Singing his own praise here. So one is not proud that he is the best among those blessed with patience. This absence of pride is known as, it's supposed to be kshama, no? How come they are giving forbearance? They are coming to fortitude straight away. Okay, so we'll talk about fortitude. Fortitude is what? Inner strength. But here it said, where was this? In the 191st verse, it talked about kshama. Oh, strange. Anyway, let's see. When this absence of pride is known as forbearance, when the senses have a strong appetite for sensuous pleasures, or a dormant disease raises his head, one has to suffer separation from the dear and the near ones and association with undesirable ones. When a person is flooded with such calamities, he stands firm and faces it squarely like sage Agastya. Just as a gentle breeze disperses a heavy column of smoke in the sky, so he digests all the three classes of corporeal, physical, and supernatural afflictions if they fall to his lot. So, what is dhriti? The dhriti means that it is that inner strength which we discover in our heart, and this is discovered when all our faculties have given up. See, so you know that, what is that? Eckhart Tolle. You have heard of Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now? What happened to him? He was living on the streets, fully depressed. Didn't even know where the next meal is going to come from. He was in the doldrums, and out of that came out the great wisdom. Does not mean that we have to willingly, consciously invoke depression in our life. Not that way. Swamiji is taking Udiya Baba's life in the evenings, and there Udiya Baba, who was Swami Akhandanandji's guru, he also one day he came to this conclusion that this life is not worth living. He lost the plot. He had done lot of sadhana. He had siddhis, but it was becoming too much. And one day he decided, I will give up my life. And when he decided, and he got up and he was about to jump into the river, the goddess mother, the Akashvani came. The Akashvani came. And with that Akashvani, immediately the thing shifted. The guru came in, another teacher came into his life, who guided his withdrawn mind from the world towards the self, the Vedanta, and rest is history. In every one of us, there are times, whether it is marriage, whether it is as a parent, whether it while we are in our youth or teenage, some time or the other, every one of us have gone through this period where we want to give up our life, that it's not worth living. And in that negative environment of the mind, we invoke the dhriti, we invoke the inner strength and climb out of it. If you can't remember when you have to remember the multiplications, and parents used to force us. Even when we were 6-7 years old, we had to learn till 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it just kept. If we do one, the next one is ready, already waiting. And if you don't do it, parents used to hit a sixer or a goal. And for that young mind, oh, I think this life is not worth it, and this blah blah blah. Or when we are in the school, friends are not talking to you, or the studies are becoming too much. See? So this dhriti, this forbearance, this inner strength, it is of three types: sattvic dhriti, rajasic dhriti, and tamasic dhriti. What is sattvic dhriti? Sattvic dhriti is required to continue on the spiritual path. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You have to find inspiration within your heart and mind. You have to invoke enough faith that it is the worthy path to pursue. This is sattvic dhriti. See? And this can only be possible when we find the strength within us not just faith. Faith is there, of course, it is required. But on the other hand, we require the inner strength to live a disciplined life so that we can control our senses and our mind. This only will come through your inner strength. It will not happen by chance. It will not happen by someone's touch. It will not happen just by reading. You have to put it into practice. Every moment life is giving you some opportunity. And you have to practice that. If you like coffee every day, start with small thing. Okay, for 1 week I will not have coffee. And when you decide you're not going to have coffee, you see how much urge comes within you to have a coffee the next day. You have never imagined it. That much urge will come. And mind will come with all excuses. अरे यार, एक हफ्ते की तो बात है. After 1 week again I'm going to start drinking coffee. So what's the point of trying this for another 6 days? Let's have it today only. If not, okay, let me have one sip. And your senses become so heightened. If anyone is having coffee 10 kilometers away, you can smell it. So in small doses, you increase your inner strength. Dhruti. Rajasic dhruti is when we conquer our ability to keep doing one project after the other. We are a busybody. Now I have to do this, now I have to do that, now today I did this, now I have to do this, now I have to do the gardening, now I have to do the gutters, now I have to do that, now I have to go shopping, now I have to take that. No, enough. Many people, they cannot sit still. So Rajasic Dhriti, inner strength at the Rajasic level is invoking the ability so that we don't keep pursuing one project after another. Enough. Enough. We are talking about the outer world, and if you have no project in the outer world, inner world also people have projects. Siddhis. I can sit for 2 hours in Padmasan. I can do 3,000 pranayams at a time. I can sit in meditation for 1.5, 2, 3 hours. It's a competition or what? These are all projects. No. When we are doing with this intention, then we are losing the crux. We are losing the self. Then our attention, somewhere in the back of our mind, yes, we are thinking of the self, but somewhere in the back of the mind, I have to sit for 3 hours, I have to sit for 4 hours, I have to be in samadhi, I have to be in this, I have to be in that. We are project after project after project. Drop everything. And the last one, third one, tamasic dhruti. Tamasic dhruti is when one is able to conquer continuously the state of depression. All the time. Every now and then we feel dejected, whether it be regards to the world or it be regards to our inner journey. Many of us may be feeling frustrated by not being able to go out to work. We have to work from home, or not having a job, or not going out and socializing, or etc., 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 etc. See? And that leads to depression. that leads to a funny mood. Then what to do? Couch potato. Pakode lao, chai lao, bread pakoda lao, pulao lao, gulab jamun lao. And what are you going to do? Flick channels. It's a sign of depression. It's a sign of depression. Watching too much TV is a sign of depression because you are afraid to face your mind. That's why you want distraction all the time. See? So, tamasic dhriti, this inertia, this procrastination, this depression, this confusion, this bad mood, this has to be pushed away. Not one day in the future. No, every moment it has to be pushed away. Tamasic dhriti. And in this manner, I don't know if he takes Kshama somewhere or not, but Kshama is what? Let's see. If it doesn't cover it, then I'll cover it. Just as a gentle breeze disperses a heavy column of smoke in the sky, so he digests all the three classes of corporeal, physical and supernatural afflictions, meaning sattvic affliction, rajasic affliction and tamasic affliction. Without too much effort, he is able to overcome it. And how come he is able to overcome it without too much effort? Because he has patience and he has faith in the infinite. That is how he is able to do it. Shraddha Saburi, just as our Shirdi Sai Baba said. Now from 196th verse. ऐसे चित्त क्षोभाच्या अवसरी उचलूनी धैर्याजे चांगावे करी धृती मणिपये अवधारी तिये ते गा आता निर्वाळूनी कनके भरिला गांगे पियूखे तया कलशाचिया सारिखे शौच असे जे आंगी निष्काम आचारू जीवी विवेकु साचारू तो सबाह्य घडला आकारू शुचित्वाचाची का फेडित पापताप पोखीत तरीचे पादप समुद्राजाय आप गंगेचे जैसे का जगाचे आद्यम फेडितू श्रियेची राऊळे उघडितू निघे जैसा भास्वतु प्रदक्षिणे. He says that to sustain courage and stand steadfast on all occasions of extreme perturbation of the mind is what is known as fortitude. Okay, so he talked about that as Kshama and now he is taking Dhruti. Okay. We'll look into it in that angle also. So to sustain courage and stand steadfast on occasions of extreme perturbation of the mind is what is called as, what is known as fortitude. Fortitude, again Dhruti. When a gold pot is cleaned and filled with water of the Ganges, it becomes pure. Purity is like that. Disinterested activity and discrimination of the mind are the signs of external and internal purity. We'll go to purity afterwards. What is Shaucham? But here, what is Dhriti? Dhriti is, I already explained. Now I will go into Kshama. What is Kshama? Kshama is the ability to forgive. And when does forgiveness come to our mind? Only when we have conquered anger. Only when we have conquered anger, we have the capacity to forgive the person towards whom we have anger, etc. And we replace that anger with an expression called forgiveness, kshama. And only when we have kshama in our heart and mind, then alone, it's not lip service that go, I forgive you. No, in our heart, then alone the anger towards the thing or situation or the person or the world or the God or the people, whoever it is against, directed against, it becomes null and void once and for all, only when you forgive. And remember, there are two places to forgive. One is we have to forgive outside, kshama, and more importantly, the ability to forgive outside, to forgive others. More than that, we must learn to forgive ourselves for all the commissions and omissions we have committed in our life, for all the wrongs from childhood till now that we have committed. We must forgive. Don't carry the burden. There are certain habits, default thinking, and we become angry. Why is it like this? Why am I not able to get away? And we punish ourselves sometimes. See? Forgive, forgive, forgive. The more you forgive yourself, live a guilt-free life. Your mind will be clean very quickly. Because past is what is corrupting our mind. Forgive the past once and for all. You don't need to work out what. Give it zero value. Then what will be the result? If you are given past the zero value, you have forgiven the person who was carrying the load of the past. Then you come into the present moment. And once you are working on yourself in this manner, automatically, spontaneously, you will be able to forgive others also. No point carrying this hatred in our heart and mind. Forgiveness is the only way to overcome this hatred and dislike towards the enemies. So when we have to move in this world, don't move around in this world getting affected by everyone. No, be light, be cool. Then only a person who's having a very strong ego, he gets affected by other people and starts hating them, starts disliking them, starts having anger towards them. Only a person with big ego. So when we start living lightly, taking everything in the stride, not serious about, too serious about what others are doing or not doing. Why? Your mind is towards the divine. And in this manner, we, this is kshama, this is forgiveness. Now shaucham. What is shaucham? Here it was told, where are we? When a gold pot is cleaned and filled with water of the Ganges, it becomes pure. Purity is like that. Disinterested activity and discrimination of the mind are the signs of external and internal purity. Just as the water of the Ganges eliminates the sins and afflictions of those who bathe in it, and also nourish the trees on its banks, or as the sun makes its rounds in the sky, dispelling darkness and opening chambers of beauty, so should be our Shaucham. Shaucham is inner and outer. Shaucham means cleanliness, hygiene. Outer cleanliness, simple. Nowadays you are getting 100 apps per day. Wash your hands, 15 seconds rub on the top, 15 seconds run at the bottom, all the way up till the high up on the wrist. If you go out, wear the mask. If you go out, take the steam bath, come back, take the steam bath, wash your clothes. Shaucham, external. So much worried about external Shaucham. It is required, no doubt it is required. And it is all incorporated in our culture anyway. But people are not following because they are mimicking the West. So if they eat with spoon, oh, we don't need to wash our mouth. They brush their teeth after breakfast. Why? Because the up and going and rich nations are doing that way, so we will also do it that way. But what is our system? Take bath, go to shouch, go to toilet, wash your mouth, brush your teeth, take bath, then have your breakfast. Not the other way around. Oh, if I have to, again my mouth becomes dirty. Yes, you wash your mouth again. Even if you have snacks, you wash your mouth. If you go to toilet, you wash your hands. You come up from outside, you wash your feet. It's incorporated in our daily lifestyle. But we think we are backwards. Our culture is backwards. It is living in superstition. Now the whole world is turning towards it. You can see. Namaste. No touching. No smooching. No kissing the cheek. Namaste. Shaucham. So in the olden days they used to wash with mud. Nowadays we wash with soap. Antibacterial soap. Dettol. Then the other is the inner purity. And what is inner purity? It is removal of raga dvesha, attachment and likes and dislikes. This is what is corrupting our mind. All the memories that you are having in your mind are because you like something or you dislike something. Then what is Gita telling you? Samatvam yoga uchyate, remain equanimous, don't create likes and dislikes. Then what happens? Very quickly the mind flushes itself out of all the likes and dislikes because you are not giving it any value and importance. See? Shaucham. Another way, our mind, when we are living out there in the world, even when we are on the spiritual path, we want to do it the shortcut way. How quickly I can get there. So this deceptive attitude which we have when it comes to living in the outer world, or when we are on the seat of meditation, think about your intentions. Why do you go to Kali Mata, Durga Mata, or Saraswati Mata, or Krishna, or Shiva? Because they can give you a particular result, that's why you go to them. You go to Saraswati because she gives you knowledge. You go to Durga, she kills the tamas. You go to Lakshmi because she gives you wealth. You are deceiving yourself. we are deceiving ourselves by our own thinking. We are not going there for who she is. We are going there because what she can offer to us, what we can get from her. This is deception. Such a person can never realize if that is his approach towards the goddess or God. We have to fall in love with the divine for no reason, with no expectation, knowing that that divine is none other than the self that we are. Silent mind is where the divinity is expressing in abundance. And what is silent mind? Pure mind. Pure mind, shaucham, clean mind. And what is the dirt in the mind? Raga, dvesh, likes and dislikes. Then what will be our sadhana? Move around in this world without creating likes and dislikes. You have to be alert and vigilant about this. Then if we are creating, I like this and I don't like that. I like this person, I don't like that person. I like staying at home. I think Corona should continue forever, so I don't have to go anywhere. I like it. No. Mind loves variety. After some time it will react. So seeker, we are talking about a seeker. We are in the which chapter? 16th chapter. So the caliber of the seeker to whom it is being addressed, Arjuna has gone through all the rigmarole of the previous 15 chapters. And he was asking the question, okay, I understood that I am that you, the Supreme Person, are alone expressing through me. Then why am I not able to access you? Sometimes I get a glimpse, but I am not able to stay steady there. Why? So, in answer to that, these Daivi Sampatti and Asuric Sampatti, the positive quality thoughts and the negative thoughts, this is being enumerated. See? So, what is one of the positive thoughts? Dispositions? Shaucham, cleanliness, purity. And we must not struggle to purify the mind. If you struggle to purify, then your attention is on the thoughts. If you struggle to sleep, you will never sleep. You have to find a moment where all struggle concludes. All shifting and adjusting at the body level, mind level, breath level, everything comes to a synchronization. And it requires just a moment or two, that's all. Not even two, a moment. And zoop, you're gone into sleep. So is true on the spiritual path also. Align, align, align. Only when there is alignment, there is purification. Alignment means living, negotiating through this world without creating likes and dislikes. Because likes and dislikes result in joys and sorrows. And that keeps you in the loop of relativity. We want to transcend relativity. We want to shoot out of the gravity of this relativity. Then what should we do? Joyfully keep chanting the name of the Lord in your mind, joyfully. Keep pumping the name of the Lord in your mind. It will push away everything else that is there in the mind. Do it with bhav, do it with love. It will purify. And next chapter in Amrita Anubhav is, I think, next or the one after. It is about this only. How to chant, the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. How the purification comes about. Sunday mornings. And what is this bhav we are talking about with which we have to chant? This bhav is, we have to keep an atmosphere of faith and reverence in our mind with respect to the name and the form of the Lord whose name we are chanting. See? If it is mere mechanical, it will help. To some extent it will help, no doubt. But if we want to bring about purity, then the reverence and faith, that atmosphere has to be maintained. And when that is maintained, and as the purification starts taking place in the mind, automatically our ability to understand the scriptures in one go starts happening. We don't have to repeat anything. We get, in spite of all the words that the teacher is using, we are able to catch the essence. And that is possible only where there is an atmosphere of faith, reverence, respect and purity. See? So with this type of mind, with such a pure mind, Shaucham, we are able to discover something superior, something holy, something positive in every person, in every place where we find ourselves to be with. See? Shaucham. Because every moment you will be somewhere. Every moment you will be with someone. Every moment you will be having, inside you will be having some thoughts. How do you turn it around? Kunti used to say, "Oh Krishna, give me more and more problems in life, because when there are more problems, I continuously think about you." We quote, but how many times we have done that? We quote for the lecture's sake. But do we say, please give me more? No, no, we are already we are afraid. Why should I demand problems? He is scared. That was the first quality of this 16th chapter, was Abhayam. See? Then next one, he says in the 201st verse, Taisi bandhili sodita, budali kadita, sankadi fedita, artachiya, kim bahuna divasarati, pudhilance sukha unnati, anita swarthi, praveshize. वाचूनी आपुलिया काजा लागी, प्राणी जाताच्या अहित भागी, संकल्पाची ही आडवंगी न करणे जे, पै अद्रोहत्व ऐशिया गोष्टी, ऐकसी जिया किरीटी, ते सांगितले हे दिठी, पाहो ये तैसे, आणि गंगा शंभूचा माथा, पावोनी संकोचे जेवी पार्था, तेवी मान्यपणे सर्वथा लाजणे जे. He says in the 201st OV, so he liberates persons from their bondage. Oh, where are we? So he liberates persons from their bondage, lifts up those drowning in the sea of worldly existence, and relieves the suffering of persons in distress Nay, he thinks that in promoting the happiness of others day and night, he is furthering his own interest. He never entertains even the idea of causing harm to others to serve his self-interest. The next one is adroha. Adroha means absence of animosity, absence of enmity, not animosity, enmity. Adroha. So, what is to be done then? That we have to cultivate a loving attitude to see it continues from the previous one out. When we have the shauch, automatically we see the positive in everyone, and we are moved by the sufferings of other people, and we want to bring them out of their suffering. See, it's very easy to judge someone. It's very easy to put them in a particular, oh, he's like this, he's like that, he's like that, he's like that. Because that's the norm. That is not responsible living. That's reactionary living. Response means mind reacts, intellect responds. And response is when we have considered all the pros and cons. A reaction is spontaneous, it's instinctive. Animals react, human beings respond. So when we live a life of responsibility, we never entertain even the idea of causing harm to others to serve our own self-interest. See? What is in it for me? If that is the case, when this is the case, what is in it for me, then we are ready to destroy others so that we can maintain our position. See what Dhritarashtra did? He destroyed all the great people who were there to guide him. He not only destroyed Dronacharya, Bhishmacharya, he destroyed all his sons. He destroyed all the young and the old men in the entire Hastinapur, just to keep the throne for himself. Wishful thinking that my army is bigger than Pandava army, that I have got invincible people on my side. Adroha. See? It doesn't having enmity. If we are spiritual seekers, there is no place for us to have enmity with anyone. We have to have this disposition that this entire creation, we are in 16th chapter, remember, that this entire creation is by the will of the Lord, and the Lord himself is expressing as the whole creation. Then how can I how can this world be my enemy? How can the world be out there to take me for a ride? No, whatever is happening in my life is there to prompt me so that I can move towards the divine. Adroha. So our interaction with any person, with any place, with any situation, with any experience, we have to formulate our mind in such a way that we take the positive out of it and propel ourselves even further along the spiritual path, rather than maintain hatred and hatred went away before, but maintain the enmity with, and blaming the world for our disposition. I am like this because of the world. I am like this because I did not get a job. I am like this because government did not give me money. I am like this because my job was taken away. I am like this because of coronavirus. I am like this because I am locked up in the house. I am like this. How many things are you going to blame? How many people and places and events in life are you going to stand against? Enough. Enough. Such people are very defensive wherever. If someone happens, oh, did you say to me? Why did you do that to me? I don't have a dignity or what? I am not a doormat. I am not this. I am not that. Blah 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 blah. Big ego. Because they think the whole world is after them. They are so self-centered that they think that the whole world is out to take the Mickey out of them. See? So they look at everyone with a suspicious attitude, with a suspicious look. They are very careful. They are like, touch me not. Adroha, don't be like that. Be light. Have love and compassion in your heart. So we must, in our day, as a spiritual seeker, we must practice non-violence. If there is enemy, if I am afraid of a rat or a spider, I will immediately, or a cockroach, good example. Immediately the Mortein spray, bloody, I will empty half the can on that one cockroach, poor fellow. But if someone calls me, see the cockroach, there are hardly any here, but sometimes you see one or two. I catch them by their whiskers and they are dancing away and I throw them out. And all the girls in the house and mum, they are, and I'll take it close to them, and oh, they get realized straight away. Do we wash down the spider down the drain, or do we help him escape the onslaught of water which is about to kill him? This is something every one of us has experienced in the bathroom in summers, isn't it? What is your disposition? Kill? It's worthless. There's life expressing there. It's holy. Oh, but I can't stand it. Then overcome that, not standing it. Consider it also another part of the creation, created by the divine. So, such a person, such a seeker, he does not have enmity towards anyone, and therefore he does not even by mistake curse anyone. As we are growing in our spiritual journey, your words will carry weight. It happens. जा मर जा, अरे वो मर गया फिर then the rest of your life you will be worried, you will be repenting, you will forget about the divine, you will thinking about, "Arey yaar, I said it and it happened, I should not have done that and this and that." Gone. Adroha. Then next one is na atimanita, and that is where are we? We are in the 206th verse, and here he says that this, O Arjuna, is what is called absence of envy, and I have told it in such a way that it is easy for you to understand. And then he says, O Partha, just as the Ganga became ashamed when Lord Shiva bore her on his head, so to feel abashed when honored is known as absence of pride. This is still 205th. Now we are going to look at na atimanita. We will read till 210 and then we will see these verses. Te he pudata pudati amanitva jana sumati maga sangitale se kiti te chite bolo evam ihi savvise brahma sampada he vasat ase moksha chakravarti che jaise agrahara hoya नाना हे संपत्ति दैवी या गुणतीर्थाची नीच नवी निर्विण्ण सगराची दैवी गंगाची आली किम गणकुसुमांची माळा हे घेऊनी मुक्ती बाळा वैराग्य निरपेक्षाचा गळा गिंवसीत आसे किम सव्विसे गुणज्योती इहि उजळूनी आरती गीता आत्मया निजपति निरांजना आली. He says, when honored is just as the Ganga became ashamed when Lord Shiva bore her on his head, so to feel abashed when honored is known as absence of pride. I have explained this to you before in chapter 13, 7th verse, where the amanitvam, adhambatvam, that verse was there, amanitvam. And so why should I repeat it now? This is the divine endowment consisting of 26 virtues, which is a gift of the Supreme Self, the sovereign of salvation. So what is this? What is this amanitvam? Manitvam is pride, amanitvam lack of pride, and and here the word that is used is ati. What is the exact word? The word is na atimanita. That is the word that is used. Na atimanita. And therefore here that when ati means whenever the degree of pride is very high, then atishaya. So atiman, so extreme pride, extreme arrogance should not be there. And so here when it says na atimanita, absence of extreme arrogance or pride, and this is what happens when we keep ourselves, if what you call, we should not place ourselves on a high pedestal that we are holier than thou, that we are richer than thou, that we are more intelligent than others. See, when I used to take children's classes, at that time it was a very, very thrilling experience that these kids, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, You put them a question, and I used to ask them certain things, and when they used to write the answers, I still got their notebooks. I told them, I'll give you the notebooks when you get married. So you remember that how divine you were and what you have become now. Say, huh? Their answers to those questions were not short of the statements given in the Upanishads. Someday I'll take it out and I'll show. See? Why uncluttered mind, no memories, no past, no ego, always living in the present moment. No comparison that I am great or I am not great. So just like here the example taken is when Gangaji was accepted by Shivji on his, where did she begin from? Brahmaji poured the water from his Kamandalu on the right toe of Narayana. And that water, when it fell down, this is all because of Bhagirath. And when that water flowed after touching the right toe of Narayan Bhagwan, earth was not having the capacity to handle this onslaught of Ganga. So there needed to be someone who takes the water and then streams it down slowly to benefit the earth. So Shivji takes the Ganga and absorbs him in his jatas, in his hair. But that Ganga, she feels ashamed. She used to pray to Lord Shiva, and now she is sitting on his head. So she was ashamed. Same way, when we are given a position of high pedestal, we are given importance, our praises are sung, we should shirk away from all this. Not, yes, I deserve it. See? So you'll see, Mahatmas, they never go for Nobel Prize, they never go for the various Ratna prizes, which are the medals which are given by the president within the country. They never demand, they never are interested. And even if at times people have nominated them, they never go. There are some who go. They want to be recognized. The pride is still there. But a true sadhu, worth his salt, he gives zero value to all this. He shirks away. He feels ashamed. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight at all. Spiritual growth is possible only when we lose all speciality. If we become special, slowly it will creep in, and and what will creep in? The more importance we get, the more special status we feel we have. In other words, we are digging our own grave of misery. That same world who put you on that pedestal, at a moment's notice, they are ready to take away your langot also. They will not leave you. And you can see this going on around. One day you are the Prime Minister, next day you are nobody. Then you write a book, memoirs of being a Prime Minister. Then the party says, we are going to throw you out of Liberal Party. Have no pride, no arrogance. Of success, we must be as commoner than commonest. We must be a nobody in this world. Then only spiritual growth is possible. As long as we are somebody, very difficult to surrender, very difficult to merge. A simple example, you have to be a nobody in order to go to sleep. If you are somebody, you will not be able to go to sleep. Think tonight when you are going to sleep. Sleep will absorb your mind only when you reach a state of being a nobody. You drop away all your shells, all your personalities, all your roles, including the role of being the body and being the thinker. That also you drop off. Only then sleep comes. See, in this way, move around in this world, be friendly to everyone, keep a distance from the world, don't get involved in the world so much that it becomes a problem. And then how does it become a problem? They will praise you, they will put you on a pedestal. No, stay away. Hand over that prize, that greatness to someone else. Don't own it. And therefore move around in this manner. But that does not mean that you don't have self-respect. You must have self-respect. It does not mean that everyone can come and walk over you. No, you have to maintain your, so that you can continue on your journey. Then he says, so these are the 26 qualities, the Daivi Sampatti, the divine endowments, the divine traits given in the last 3 verses, and these are necessary for salvation. This divine endowment is like the river Ganga flowing with holy waters in the form of these virtues, who has descended to save Sagara, King Sagara, in the form of the detached yogi. Or it is like the bride with a garland in her hands, who has come to wed a person who is selfless. It is as though the Gita, holding a lamp with 26 flames in the form of these virtues, has come to wave it in front of her Lord, the Supreme Self. So where are these qualities? Are they in the self or are they in your mind? They are in our mind. And when we have these, you practice one, others will automatically come. Have you ever tried? You light one lamp, you know those big, like if this is a lamp and you light one here or one here, one lamp you have, and start doing the arti, Om Jaya, and with that motion, automatically the other 4 also get lighted up. Isn't it? Same way. Same way. You cultivate one, automatically the other 25, they will come. And it's like, it's as if the Bhagavad Gita with these 26 qualities is, or our mind with these 26 qualities is doing the arti of the Supreme Divine. Or the Ganga flowing with holy waters in the form of these virtues, who has descended to save the Sagara in the form of the detached yogi. So where is Gangaji? Gangaji is the river. Mind is a river of thought. The flow of thoughts. That flow of thoughts is the Gangaji. Which Gangaji? Gangaji is pure. So when we have pure flow of thoughts, then it is Gangaji. She is Papa Nashini. She is able to bless. She is able to bless just like she descended to save Sagara from the in the form of a detached yogi. Same way, these qualities help us to come to be steady in the truth. Only when our mind is steady with these qualities, it will be able to transcend. But if there is agitation, and what is the agitation due to? That we will see now. The next verse is going to talk about Asuri Sampatti. (211th verse) उगळिते निर्मळे गुणडीयेची मुक्ता फळे दैवी शुक्ती कळे गीतार्णवीची काय बहुवानु ऐसी अभिव्यक्ती ये अपैसी केले दैवी गुणराशी संपत्ती रूप आता दुःखाची आंतुवट वेली दोष काट्यांची जरी भरली तरी निजाभिधानी घाली आसुरी ते पैत्याज्य त्यजावया लागी जाणावी जरी अनुपयोगी तरी ऐका ते चांगी श्रोत्र शक्ती तरी नरकव्यथा थोरी आणावया दोषी घोरी मेळू केला ते आसुरी संपत्ती हे नाना विषवर्गू एकवटू तया नाव जैसा बासटू आसुरी संपत्ती हा खोटू दोषांचा तैसा. He says, or is it as though spotless pearls in the form of these virtues have come out from the mother of pearls in the form of the divine endowments from the sea in the form of the Gita. Now how much more should I describe this divine endowment? Jnaneshwar Maharaj is also feeling full. Enough of it, yaar. Aage badho. How much more should I describe this divine endowment? It is not sufficient to know it, but realize it. You have to realize it. You can't keep talking about chocolate. You have to taste the chocolate. You can't talking about gulab jamun is like this, it is like round, it is made of khoya, it is in the sugar syrup, it has got this, it has got that, it melts into the mouth. It is not going to satisfy you. Even if you hear about gulab jamun for the rest of your life. But once you taste it, after that you don't need to hear its praises. Exactly the same way. Not only about these qualities, even about the self. How much more we are going to collect information? Enough. You know it all. You have collected enough information. Now it is important to be subjective while listening. No more collecting information. Same way Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, enough of talking about these qualities. Realize the qualities. Simple. And one who is realized, in him all these Daivi Sampattis all automatically express. Spontaneously express. And the one who is not realized, he must cultivate these qualities and they are helpful for him to move and surrender to the divine. See, the idea is, why are these qualities? So that you don't create. See, there is a difference between those who are studying Vedanta or following the path of Vedanta and following the path of yoga. Those who follow the path of yoga, they continue. Their basic premise is that the consciousness is one per person. I am realized, rest of the world is not. He still keeps the world separate to him. He goes into samadhi, he comes out of samadhi and he feels he has achieved something great. No doubt he has achieved something great, but he has not transcended body identification. Vedanta helps you to transcend body identification. And what is the transcendence of body identification? Coming to realize that this self that I am is all that there is out there. Nothing, this entire world that I am experiencing. When I use the word world, you will think it is the, oh, it's already 9 o'clock. When I use the word world, you think it is only the waking world. No, waking, dream and deep sleep. This world that is out there is not outside the self. And if our self is so dear to us, our life is so dear to us, and that principle alone is pervading in the whole creation, how can we have arrogance? How can we have distance? How can we see the world to be separate? How can we feel I am greater than the rest of the world? How can we feel I don't want to do anything with the world? No. So for a yogi to come to realize that this self that he is accessing, his being in the seat of meditation, is the material, is the essence which is of the entire creation, that only Vedanta can bring you to it. Vedanta brings you to your center with no circumference. This we talked about a few days ago, few classes ago. We are the center. This self is the center without circumference. And the moment you create a circumference, then I am this body, I was born on this day, I have got these parents, different circumferences you are creating. You are starting to define this self with support of something. You have created limitation. You have accepted the conditionings. But when we talk about self without circumference, without conditionings, that is the goal of Vedanta. It is not sufficient to know it, but realize it. So I have described to you the characteristics of this endowment of a person who is endowed with these virtues. Now know well the demonical endowment which is full of misery and demerits, like a creeper full of thorns. Even if a thing is of no use and fit to be discarded, one has to know it well in order to abandon it. In this demonical endowment, all the faults have combined to give hellish afflictions to the beings, as if all venoms are blended to form a deadly poison. The collection of all faults in this demonical endowments will be given in the 4th verse. We'll see them in our next class. So with this we conclude the 26 divine qualities to be cultivated by a seeker, which is helpful for him to be steadily contemplate on the self and abide in the self. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Our next class